I used to think the Backrooms were just an internet myth, one of those creepypasta things people joked about late at night. But what happened to me was real as the stale, moldy carpet I felt under my hands, as real as the hum of the flickering fluorescent lights that buzzed non-stop like they were feeding off my fear. It started on a Thursday afternoon at work. I'm a low-level tech guy for a corporate office in Ohio, and I had gone down into the basement to check some networking equipment that had been acting up. The elevator stuttered on the way down, like it wasn't supposed to go that far. When the doors opened, I stepped out into a maintenance hallway I'd never seen before, even though I'd worked there for 3 years. I walked a few steps, turned left, then the air shifted. It was like walking through an invisible wall. My ears popped. I turned around to go back, but the door was gone. No hallway, no elevator. Just a wide, yellow room that stretched forever in every direction, stained carpet underfoot, and fluorescent lights above that stretched into infinity. At first I thought it was a trick, like maybe I blacked out or was having a stroke. But the longer I stayed, the more I knew this was something else. The air smelled like mold and dust, and the walls had this greasy texture like no one had cleaned them in decades. I started walking, calling out, but my voice didn't echo. It was like the Space 8 sound. My phone had no service, and the time on it stayed frozen at 3:12 p.m. I tried using the flashlight, but the light barely pierced the haze. After what felt like hours, I came across a hallway. It looked exactly the same, but somehow off. It angled slightly down, like it was spiraling. I followed it. As I walked, I heard footsteps behind me, soft, like someone was barefoot and trying not to be noticed. I turned, nothing. I started to run, but the hallway only stretched. At one point, I swear I saw someone far ahead. I yelled, begged them to wait. They didn't turn, but they moved faster. I chased them for what felt like 10 minutes before realizing their feet never touched the floor. That's when the walls started to hum. Not the lights, the walls. They pulsed like they were breathing. I ducked into a room, square, empty, but with a small table in the middle. On it was a Polaroid photo of my apartment door, my exact apartment. Same faded red paint, same dent in the lower panel, and written on it, in black marker, "This is how you get back." I grabbed the photo, but the room slammed shut behind me. The lights turned red. I screamed. I pounded the walls. Then I heard my mother's voice calling my name, not frantic, not worried, just calmly repeating it from the other side. But my mom died in 2017. I backed into the corner, photo in hand, trying not to breathe. After maybe an hour, the lights flickered again. I was somewhere new. A narrow corridor with hundreds of doors on either side, each one labeled with numbers that didn't make sense. 13A, 72ZF, X5, and so on. One door was slightly open. My name was carved into it. I opened it and stepped through. Just darkness. No floor. I fell. I felt like I was falling for hours. And then I woke up, back in my office chair. My coworkers said I'd only been gone 15 minutes, but my watch was dead. My phone still said 3:12, and the Polaroid photo was in my back pocket. No one believed me. I went to the hospital. They ran every test. Nothing. But every night since then, I hear those lights humming when I try to sleep. I smell that mold. I feel the carpet under my hands. And sometimes, in the middle of the night, I wake up standing in the corner of my room, facing the wall, just like that thing I saw. the one that smiled without moving. I don't think I ever really left the back rooms. I think they let me go, for now. It was supposed to be just another dull afternoon. I was on a job site doing freelance inspection work at an abandoned government office in rural Pennsylvania. The building had been closed down since the early 2000s, but some new private company had bought it and wanted a full inspection report. It was me and one security guy named Ray. I was snapping photos, noting damage, when I found a stairwell at the far end of the basement. It wasn't in the building's blueprint. Curiosity got the better of me, so I followed it down. As soon as I passed the 5th step, the temperature dropped like I'd stepped into a freezer, and the air started to smell like wet carpet and expired glue. The stairwell ended abruptly into a wide yellow hallway that looked like it belonged in a cheap office from the 70s. Flickering fluorescent lights, low droning hum, mustard-colored walls. I thought maybe I stumbled into some annex or hidden floor. I called out for Ray, but my voice came back warped, like underwater. No echo, just a dull thud of sound. I tried to climb back up, but the stairwell was gone. Just more yellow hallways. That's when the lights started pulsing like they were breathing, and I knew something was terribly wrong. I started walking, leaving marks with a Sharpie on the wall, but after 20 minutes I looped back to my first X. Time stopped working. My watch died, and my phone showed no signal, just a frozen screen at 2:41 p.m. I started to panic when I heard footsteps, soft, dragging steps. I turned around, raised my flashlight, and saw a man standing just outside the light. He looked filthy, bearded, with pale gray skin and wearing clothes that screamed 90s, baggy jeans, starter jacket, dirty high tops. He stepped into the light slowly and said, "You're not the first one they sent." I asked him what this place was. He said, "We call it the Echo. It mimics places, faces, sounds, but it's not alive. It just watches, learns, and traps." He said he got here in 1993, thought it was a mall maintenance hallway, got pulled in, said he's seen maybe 40 people come and go, only 3 ever found the exit. Then he stared at me and said, "You're lucky. You came in alone. They get stronger with groups." Before I could ask what that meant, the lights flickered, and I blinked. He was gone. I turned and started running, panicked, heart racing, until I found a door, completely out of place, a rusted steel door with a keypad. The keys were worn down, but my fingers moved without thinking. I typed my old childhood home's zip code. It clicked open. Inside was a pitch-black room and an overwhelming smell of my grandmother's perfume. I stepped in, against every instinct, and the door slammed behind me. I was in a copy of my childhood bedroom, every detail right, down to the scuff marks on the closet. Then the TV turned on by itself, showing static. Then my own face, sleeping from above. I looked around. There was no camera. Then a voice, low and distorted, whispered, "We remember what you dream." I woke up later, lying in the grass behind the office building. Ray was shaking me, said I'd been missing for almost 3 hours. But here's the thing. My jeans had a tear they didn't have before. My right boot was covered in yellow paint, and in my pocket was a crumpled candy wrapper that said, "Limited edition 1993, sour lemon chews." I tried to tell Ray, but he thought I passed out from fumes. I submitted my inspection report and quit the job. But I still hear that humming at night when it's completely quiet. And sometimes, When I close my eyes, I see that man standing at the edge of the light, watching me, waiting. And deep down, I know the back rooms never really let anyone go. They just give you time to forget before they take you back. I never believed in that internet creepypasta stuff. Backrooms, liminal spaces, lost dimensions. It all sounded like Reddit roleplay to me until I became part of it. I was part of a small documentary crew filming abandoned buildings in Utah. Our third location was an old federal archive center, decommissioned in the early 90s after a fire. We had a basic shoot plan, in and out before nightfall. Around 3 p.m., I split off to grab some B-roll of the sub-basement, which wasn't even supposed to be accessible. I followed a cracked hallway, past a row of rusted lockers, and found a single elevator door. No buttons, no markings, just open and waiting. I stepped inside out of pure curiosity, and the moment the doors closed, the lights snapped off. When they came back, the floor had changed. The metal was gone. I stepped out into that awful yellow void, walls the color of infection, stained carpet that squished like wet towels, and an endless buzzing from above that made my teeth hurt. It was the back rooms. I didn't want to believe it, but I knew. There was no elevator behind me anymore, just a wall. I screamed, no echo. I ran, no exit. Just turn after turn of identical rooms. My gear was glitching, camera batteries draining instantly, flashlight flickering, my phone frozen at 3:18 p.m. Hours passed, or maybe days. I lost track of time almost immediately. My body ached like I'd walked miles. Then I saw her. A girl, maybe 10, standing barefoot with a teddy bear, facing the corner. I called to her, but she didn't move. When I got closer, she whispered, "Don't wake him up." I backed away, heart pounding, and turned a corner only to find something worse. My own childhood bedroom, perfectly reconstructed, except for the dozens of faces pressed into the wallpaper. I slammed the door shut and kept moving. The lights began to dim randomly, and in the darkness I heard breathing, slow, labored, massive. I found a stairwell spiraling downward with words scratched into the walls. "Don't go below level 3." I kept going anyway. Hunger gnawed at me. My mouth was dry like sand. On the third level the walls turned black, and the buzzing was gone, replaced by whispers in different voices. My father, my ex, my dead dog, all saying the same thing. "Stay." I collapsed in a room that had a single metal table and an old radio playing static. When I touched the dial, it screamed my name. That's when I met him, the man with no face. Just smooth skin where a face should be, dressed like a hospital orderly, who pointed to the wall behind me, where a door slowly faded into view. "You can go," he said, but his mouth never moved. I hesitated, and he leaned close and whispered directly into my skull, "This is the only time it opens." I ran through the door without looking back. Next thing I knew, I was lying in the dirt outside the building. EMTs were surrounding me. I'd been missing for 6 full days. My footage was corrupted. My audio gear melted. But the teddy bear from that girl, it was in my backpack, and it wasn't mine. No one believes me. Not my crew, not my therapist, not even me sometimes. But every now and then when I wake up, I feel that soft, damp carpet under my feet. And I hear that endless buzzing. And worse, sometimes I wake up facing the corner, just like that girl. Like I never really left.